Welcome to the Everyday Miracles podcast, where real life stories of hope and inspiration are shared. Every day, miracles are happening all around us, yet we rarely hear anything about them. Why is that? I'm Julie Hedenborg, and I've committed my time and energy to bring these stories to you, including some of my own personal experiences. My hope is that you'll be impacted the same way that I was. Join me in my journey to inspire change in a world that so desperately needs it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Everyday Miracles podcast. I'm Julie Hedenborg, your host, and I have been so excited to get this episode to you. Today is a very special episode. I have Debbie Hancock in my home, and she is giving her talk that she usually gives to children around Charlotte. That's an awareness talk on how to avoid the dangers of human trafficking. And she hasn't had her platform this year with COVID, and I really felt an urgency to just put this content out there, and I hope that you use it in churches and schools and homes. It's going to be a great way to kind of broach this topic with your child. Something I want to point out right away that Debbie did that I love, there is a safety pledge that she put together. Compassion to Act online safety pledge. This is a contract that's going to be a great tool for you as you watch this video. It's a contract for the parent and the child to sign. The second page has all of the login type information for different apps and passwords that you can share. And those are things that are critical in keeping your child safe. And everybody's kid is online right now, right? I struggle with this myself. So it's just imperative that we have that keep the communication going, and we do what we can to keep our kids safe. And I do want to say, I was really, really thrilled at the end of the video that we recorded. The kids were both so grateful, and they felt totally empowered. And they were just really, really appreciated talking to someone about this that wasn't their parent. So it was really, really special. I think God's going to do great things with this. So I hope that you share it. I hope that it helps you. Communication is just so critical. So God bless you, and thank you for watching. I hope that you check out the information for Debbie. There are plenty of places to give and support her ministry as well. She is a hero to me in our city. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Debbie, and I am the founder of Compassion to Act. And we are a ministry that fights modern day slavery. So today I am so happy that you guys are here, and we're going to have a really great time learning about human trafficking, and you're going to walk away feeling empowered, and you're going to know what to do if this ever happens to you or someone you know. And you're going to be amazed once we start really diving into this. You are going to see it. You're going to see it at some point in your life, either as a classmate, a job, just being out in the mall or the movie theater or somewhere. You're going to see it, and you're going to know what to do. So when you watch this, you are going to feel empowered. And so that's why I'm so excited, because you know what? It's really brave for you to sit down and have a discussion today with me. So when we have this discussion, I want you guys to ask me questions. There's not a question that is stupid or wrong. Anything you ask me is probably something everyone else wishes they were sitting here that could ask. Okay? So my ministry, like I said, is called Compassion to Act. And we work with women and children. We've worked with a few children who have been trafficked. And one of the things that we do is we go through and educate people. We speak at schools, churches, businesses, organizations, living rooms like we are here today, anywhere, because we feel that knowledge is power. And when you know what to do and you've heard it, you'll be able to save a life. Okay? So let's dive in. Have you guys heard about human trafficking before? So do you have a little bit of experience hearing about it?
Yeah.
So what have you heard? What's something you've heard about it?
I know it's sex slavery, so you're basically held captive against your will sometimes, most times, being used for sex. So.
Right. Do you have anything?
Not really.
Yeah. Now, it can be that, but it also can be labor trafficking. So think about this when you guys get older and you have a job, there's a lot of people that work and don't get paid for it. And that happens a lot. That happens probably a lot more than what people realize. And in fact, the very first girl we ever rescued, she was 17 years old, and she was living, well, she's from New York City, and she was here in Charlotte. She had come down on a summer vacation with this group, and they were selling things door to door. Have you guys ever seen people knock on the door selling things? Well, she was involved in an organization that was not good. It was evil. And there was drug dealing and all these horrible things that were going on. And she was in the middle of a situation, and she ran. And she was living on the streets of Charlotte for a couple months. And we rescued her. And we put her in our emergency safe house. And on her 18th birthday, we were able to buy a bus ticket and send her back to New York to be with her mother. So, and you know, she was just thinking, I want to do this job for the summer. I want to have a fun time. I want to see, you know, the United States. And they had gone to Georgia. They had gone to Atlanta and ended up in Charlotte. So it can happen so quickly. So the definition of human trafficking is it's an act that can involve sex trafficking, or it can involve labor trafficking, and it involves force, fraud, or coercion. So basically, what that means is someone who says one thing to you and does something else, or forces you to do something. That is human trafficking. So it can look very differently than what a lot of times what people think it looks like. A lot of times people think it looks like someone grabs you and takes you. That it can definitely happen, but it isn't always like that. There can be people that you're going to school with that are involved in this, and you would never know it. So, worldwide, there are 40.3 million people being trafficked. 75% are women, 25% are children, and 81% is labor trafficking. So really, labor trafficking is the largest sector of human trafficking in the world. Now, in the United States, human trafficking is more involved in exploitation. And in the past 5 years, 89 million people have been trafficked. And that's ranging from a few days to years. 89 million people. Every 3 seconds, someone is being trafficked. So the time that we're here today, think about how many women, children, boys could be trafficked. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. So in the United States, 85% are women, 33% are minors. So minors are anyone under the age of 18. Half are citizens. 75% is sex trafficking. In Charlotte is the #1 city in North Carolina. Have you heard that before?
Hey, no, I was just...
Oh, you have? Okay. Yeah, Charlotte is the #1 city in North Carolina. And North Carolina is 23rd in the United States. Of all the states, we're 23rd. Now, we used to be in the top 10, but we've gone down to 23, which some people would think, oh, that's so great, we're doing better. We're really fighting this. But the difference, we're not any better. The difference is other states are doing worse than we are. So we haven't improved really at all. Charlotte is in the top 10 in the nation. So you think, we have this beautiful city, we have beautiful homes, we have banking, we have sporting events, we have all of these wonderful things in our city, And human trafficking is going on all around us. All around us. Even in our county, we've helped people in our county that have been trafficked. So at any time, there's at least 2,400 people in North Carolina being trafficked at any time. And those are the people we know about. So what about all the people we don't know about? And the only way that we know about this is either they're arrested for maybe a crime, or someone finds them, they run. What about all the people that this is happening to that no one ever knows about? And so I'm sure you're probably thinking, how does this happen? How do you get yourself in a situation like this, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
I could tell. So there's a lot of things. There could be, and these things that I'm going to tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. These are just what we've noticed. There's a common thread. So when you look at situations, you want to try to find the common things that, we can look and say, well, maybe if this part is a risk factor, this could have a probability of someone being trafficked. These are the things that we've looked at, not just our organization, but as a whole. So high risk factors are dysfunction in the home, running away, previous neglect, sexual abuse, homeless, poverty, developmentally delayed, emotional stress, substance abuse. So any of those things can definitely play into someone getting themselves into a situation, but not always. And then low risk factors are unsupervised social media, which we're going to really talk about that, an absent father, naive about the world, easily influenced by your peers, very trusting, and wanting to be loved. Yes?
This might, never mind.
No, ask me.
Is it, what does naive mean again? Is it, sad?
No, naive means not very... yeah, it's like, it's not that you're not smart. It's just, you don't really know many things. Like you haven't really, you don't have experiences in certain things. So if someone says, oh, come with me, can you help me go find my dog? And this man comes and asks you to help you go find his dog that is missing in the neighborhood, and you hop in his car because you love dogs, and you're like, oh no, he's lost his dog, and he takes you. Like a situation like that, it's naive. It's one of those things where you just don't have experience or don't have the tools to fight against it. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Educated on the topic.
Yes, exactly. Because what we talked about, remember, is knowledge is power. So when you have an understanding of something, then you can be able to fight against it. And even scripture says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So it's very important to educate yourself and to be able to have a dialogue, which means have a conversation with your parents about this. Even today, after we're done, you should sit down with your parents and have a conversation. Call a family meeting, if you guys do that in your family, and say, let's talk about this. Because it's very important. It's very important. So when you think about like the low risk factors, and you think about people who maybe don't have their families intact, or maybe they haven't, they've been very sheltered, because there's something that, and I'm a mom, I have 3 kids. So there's something about, we want to protect our kids. We want to protect them from danger. We want to protect them from knowing certain things. But there comes a point where we have to talk about certain things that's very hard for parents to talk about. It is not easy to talk about certain things because we want you guys to stay, not naive, but we just don't want you to have to know everything about the world, because the world can be hard. As much as it can be beautiful, it can also be hard. And I think sometimes parents have a hard time talking about things because we want you guys to stay innocent, but there comes a point where you have to talk about it. And the older you get, the more you can talk about certain things. And you want to be able to have an open relationship with your parents where you can talk about things. And you can tell them, I want to know more about this. And I want to tell you what's going on with my friends. I want to tell you what's happening with situations. If I see one of my friends who has a situation that doesn't look good, and they're definitely starting to go down the wrong tracks, you want to be able to talk to your parents about that. And you want to be able to have scenarios like, what do I do if this happened to me? What do I do if I'm at a party and my friend goes with these older guys and she wants me to come? What do I do? So there will be situations you all will be faced with that you'll have to really know what to do, and being able to talk to your parents about it will definitely help. And as parents, we have to not freak out. So when you guys come and ask us questions, we're not like, oh my gosh, why is she asking me that? Because as moms, that's what we do sometimes. We're like, okay, I really don't want to have this conversation, but I know I have to. Because
it's better to know more than not know anything.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But it doesn't make it, as hard as it is for you guys to come and talk to your parents, it's just as hard for us to have to talk to you about those things, because we don't want to have to do that, because we want everything to be, we want you to just like live life and not have to talk about some of the hard things, But so who's profiting from this? So you think about, okay, so we've talked about there's the risk factors. We've talked about what human trafficking is, how it's force, fraud, or coercion, right? And it's a service that's in exchange for something. Who makes money off this? Like, who do you think profits off this?
Maybe the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because why would they want to do it if you didn't? Well,
Right.
if you're forced into it, you don't really have a choice.
Right. But even if you're forced, why do they force you into it?
Probably for money.
For money. That's right. Because, when you look at drug dealers and you look at people who do drugs, it's a commodity that they have to always buy more drugs to be able to sell them. Well, they can have a trafficker. Okay, a trafficker is someone who takes someone. So that's what a trafficker is. Sometimes people call it a pimp. Okay, it can be called a trafficker, a pimp. It means exactly the same thing. So when you think about a trafficker can have 4 people. Okay, so if they get 4 people that they're controlled over, they can make $600,000 a year off of 4 people. Yes.
Wait, so is 4 like the limit, or?
No, that's just an example.
Oh, okay.
Some have a lot more, some have less. Some have levels, like there may be one trafficker who's in charge of a bunch of other traffickers. It can be a very big bazillion-dollar business, and it's growing by the moment.
That's gross to me, honestly, that people would do that to each other.
It is.
Jesus says to love your brothers and sisters, not to control them.
That's right. That's right. But there's a lot of people who don't know Jesus. And there's a lot of people that don't know that that's what he wants for us. I mean, like when I look at myself, I didn't become a Christian till I was 30. So I went through my whole life not knowing God. And there's a lot of people just like me, So 90% of people are under the control of a trafficker or a pimp. A trafficker can be a boyfriend, a family member, a female, a grandmother. I had a call one time from a principal at a school here in Charlotte, and she worked at an elementary school, and there were 2 little twins, and they were in kindergarten, and they were being trafficked by their grandmother.
How would they be trafficked if they were only in kindergarten? How would that work?
Well, they would, the grandmother owned a bar, and she would take her little granddaughters to the bar and make them do things for money. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that benefit from benefit financially for exploitation, basically. And the average age into this type of situation is 13. So when you look at it worldwide, nationwide, 13 years old. So there are traffickers looking for young kids. Okay? And that's why it's important, because you guys are that age. So you're thinking, I know if I was you, I'd be thinking this too. Well, how would they even find me? How would they talk to me? I mean, I would never do that, right? You're thinking, I would never get myself in a situation like that. Like, why would I do that? Well, they're master manipulators. Do you know what a manipulator is?
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just make sure. So they're master manipulators. So one time I was reading an article, and it was about someone who was a trafficker who like isn't a trafficker anymore. And he said in this article that he knew, like when he went to the mall, he knew who to talk to and who to try to get to lure in. And it was the person that didn't look them in the eye. Now, I know I was 13 once, right? And I know for a fact that there were days that I didn't feel good about myself. There were days I was mad at my parents and I didn't like them very much. And there were days that I was just done, right? I mean, let's be real, right? So let's say you go to the mall that day, or you go to the ice skating rink, or you go wherever you go that day, and you're all mad. You're mad at your mom. You're mad at your dad. You don't feel pretty. You don't feel cute. You hate what you're wearing. You aren't tall enough. You're not short enough. Like whatever it is going on. You're mad at your friends. You had a fight with your best friend. You lost the scoring point for a game. I mean, it could be anything, right? Just, it's life. And you're in a bad mood, and someone can see that, and they come up and talk to you, and you look down because you don't feel good about yourself that day. You're at risk. Because this trafficker said, I knew who to talk to because they wouldn't look me in the eye. So I'm going to say this to you guys. No matter where you are, if a stranger talks to you, look them in the eye. Square in the eye and go, stop talking to me. Or don't say anything, just look them in the eye and walk off. Because that alone makes you not a target. It seems simple, right? But if you're having a hard day, it may not be simple. You may have to make yourself look them in the eye.
Is that just it? Like, that's the only thing they do to that?
Well, it could be, but that's the one thing they know. If you look them in the eye, they're going to say they're confident. Because they're looking for people who aren't confident. They're looking for people who are vulnerable. If they're going to start the luring process of getting to know someone and trying to, get them to go on their own will instead of being taken. I mean, yes, there's kidnapping and there's things that happen, but the majority of it, the people are willfully choosing to go. They're not putting up a fight. And the other thing you have to remember, if a scary person's talking to you, you're going to be scared. They don't look scary. They look like normal people, because if they look scary, nobody would talk to them. They like normal people. They look like moms, they look like dads, they look like grandparents, they look like really cute guys, really pretty girls. Like it doesn't look scary. You may feel it weird. Like if someone starts talking to you, you may feel that weird thing, but that's the Holy Spirit in you going, that's your gut. Always trust your gut when it comes to talking to strangers and stuff. So what they do is like I said, they're master manipulators. They know who to target, they know what to say, and they'll stop at nothing because they're not wanting a relationship with you. They see you as money. Yes.
So when someone willfully goes, so it's basically them being deceived into
Yes.
going?
Yes.
Because they don't really know what they're being.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's the majority of how it happens. Yes.
Wait, so I wouldn't just go, say if someone came up to me hey, do you want to go in my car? I wouldn't be like that. So how do they do that? Do they what way do they say it?
They'll say whatever way to get you to do it. So it just depends. Let's say you're at the mall, or let's say you're at the movie theater, right? Let's say you're at the movie theater and you're standing out, you're getting ready to go into the movie, or you're even out there, you're getting your popcorn or whatever, and a group of people comes over, a guy or a girl, starts talking to you, gets a conversation going about anything, sports, your clothes, whatever it is. Or maybe they're like, they can see you're mad. Are you mad at your parents? I know. When I was your age, I would get so mad at my parents. They used to tick me off. They won't let me do anything, blah, blah, blah. And you're just on and on and on and on. And they're like, yeah, me too. Well, you should come stay at my house sometime. Next time, if they really make you mad and you need to get away, I have a pool. I have a nice home. You should just come stay with me for a couple of days and let it all just blow over, because that's what I did when I was a kid. And it really helped. And they can be very convincing. I'm telling you, very convincing. To where you might think about it, or they may give you their phone number or their Snapchat or whatever, and you may think about it, like, especially if you come home and your parents make you mad. Well, I'm just going to go to that I'm going to get my friends, we're going to go. I mean, it could happen very easily before you know it. And the thing is, because they're manipulators and because they know what to say and they know how to do it, they can do it in a way that you don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. And that's why it's really important not to talk to strangers like that. And sometimes they can even mimic themselves as, they can have people working for them, young people, like cute guys, pretty girls, to talk to you, to lure you in. So there was another situation that I read about. There was this girl, she worked at a restaurant. She worked at a little, she was a waitress. And every single day, this older man came in and got his morning breakfast and all of his stuff. And he would, he was trying to get to know her because it was one of her regular customers. So he was telling her, she was telling him different things like, this is the kind of guy I'm looking for. This is what I want to do for college, just talking about life. Well, what he did is he paid a guy to come in and be that person. Every single day, the cute guy started coming in and sweeping her off her feet, thinking that she's like, I've met the guy. You wouldn't believe I met the guy. I've met the man of my dreams. And they started going on a date. They started going out. He would come in every day. It turned into a thing. Well, they were just using her. They were trying to get her to leave her family. And they started saying things like, you don't need to do what your parents say. You're almost 18. You don't need to do that. You can do what you want. You don't have to do anything they say. You have your own money, and I love you. I'll take care of you. I'll help you. I'll take you away from your horrible life. I'll do anything for you. Well, this girl falls in love with him. Well, guess what? He was a trafficker. And thankfully, one of her best friends started seeing a change in her and started seeing that she's in trouble. And they were able to get her away from him. But they were traffickers. That's how they do it. It's not the mean, scary, tattooed person that's going to, of course you wouldn't talk to him. It's going to look differently. In fact, Saturday night, I had a bonfire at my house, and my daughter had friends from her youth group over, and they left. And about 12 o'clock, I get a call from a friend whose daughter is 18, and the same situation is happening. And they're afraid she's going to run off with this guy. And this guy won't come to the house. They really can't get any information. He gave her his phone, so she doesn't use the phone her parents gave her. She uses the phone he gave her. Started buying her all these elaborate gifts and all these things, and she's being groomed right now. But she believes he loves her. And most of the ladies that we've worked with, they think this. They don't even think their trafficker is their trafficker. They think it's their boyfriend. And it happens all the time. All the time. It can happen in any school. It doesn't mean if it's a really high-end school or a really low-performing school. It really doesn't matter. It could happen anywhere. Isn't that crazy? So if you ever have a friend and they start changing, like especially as you guys are coming up, people do change as they start getting in high school, and some, people do, they change. But if you start really seeing a friend really start changing, and maybe they have an older boyfriend or a girlfriend, and things look different, and they're starting to like come to school late, they're not turning in their homework, they're dressing differently, they may have a tattoo, they may be sleepy during the day, like different things. Those are signs. Those are signs that could be happening.
So what do you do as a kid when you see that?
Well, if it's your friend, you'll want to try to talk to your friend and ask her. Now, she'll probably, or he'll probably say, I'm fine, I'm just in love and I don't care about school anymore or whatever. And if you know their parents, maybe go to their parents, go to your teacher, go to the principal, go to the counselor and say, my friend's in trouble. My friend's in trouble. She needs help. He needs help. Mm-hmm. And, pimps will target whoever they feel they need to target. And they are known to recruit, which means they're looking for their people at schools, at balls, foster homes, bus stations, restaurants, parks, homeless shelters, courtrooms, sporting events, anywhere really. Anywhere there's people. So when this happens, so let's say this boyfriend takes the girl. He's going to say, okay, now you need to do this and this and this for me, or I will kill your family, or I will kill you, or I will hurt your little sister, or I will hurt your brother, or I will kill your mother. I mean, they will say whatever it is to make you afraid that you'll do anything they say. And they can't even, most of the time, they give you drugs. They make you addicted to drugs because there's certain drugs that are very addictive. So you can take them one time and be addicted to them. And they can do that because they know if they can get you addicted to your drugs, you'll do anything for them. Anything. Yes.
So what do you do in that situation if they say like, I'll kill your mom or something?
Well, what would you do in that situation?
I don't know. I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
So that's what you do?
How do you protect yourself from that?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're talking today, because you're getting knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get yourself, it's one of those things. Scripture says the Lord always gives you a way of escape. It's a promise. If you get yourself in a situation, there's always a way of escape. So you don't want to open the door to it. So that's why we're gonna continue talking about some of the ways that you can equip yourself, and some of the ways that can stop the door from being opened. So you have the way of escape. What we're doing here today is the way of escape. Because you're learning, and as you're learning about it, you're learning of what not to do. And that you can actually be a voice within your school, within your youth group, within your group of friends, to say, we've got to watch this. And especially as you're coming up and getting out more, and you're getting more freedoms. Your parents are giving you more freedom to do things, and you're getting older and you're getting to have fun and do all those things. Well, that's a great thing. That's part of being a kid. But there's also evil that comes around too. And so you just have to be careful. So we talked about, if you're in school and you start seeing changes in friends, that those things could be issues, and that you want to be able to talk to your teacher, talk to their parents if you know, talk to them. You want to be able to do what you can it would be great to stop it, but just to make people aware. Like, I'm worried about my friend. Like if she stops coming to youth group, or stops coming to, if you're you play sports and they're not coming anymore, and there's just changes, and there's a older guy hanging around, or even a younger guy. I mean, I know in our area, I mean, there's high school kids that traffic girls in schools for sure. We've seen it, like we know. So, and one of the things we're going to talk about is your phones. Do you have a phone? Do you love your phone?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, but it's, I don't know.
So, I mean, I love my phone. I mean, I can say I love my phone. I mean, sometimes I don't like my phone, but I do love my phone because I know where my kids are with their 360. I know, I can email, text, I can be connected anytime I want to be connected. I have pictures on there. Like, there's things about my phone that I love, right? But it's also something that you can love, but it can also be dangerous too, right? So, okay, so how long have you guys had a phone?
I got mine last Christmas, so almost a year.
Okay. And how long have you had your phone?
I don't know. It was a hand-me-down, it was like an iPhone 5 or 6.
Uh-huh.
I don't know when I had it though.
So you've had it for a little while?
Been using it more since quarantine.
Yeah, of course, of course. So what do you like to do on your phone?
That's the only thing is I text my friends. I don't really use it for anything else.
You don't?
And my Bible app and reading. That's the main thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I use so sometimes at school we're doing like Audible. I use Audible. Sometimes I have Snapchat, TikTok,
Yeah,
and sometimes YouTube, but that's not really.
yeah. So do you guys love to watch TikTok?
I mean, yeah. It's just sometimes when I'm bored. Yeah.
Right. Now, do you have friends that want to be TikTok famous or whatever?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
deleted all my social media because it was too obsessive.
Yeah, yeah. But do you have friends that want to be TikTok famous and that's like a
Yeah.
thing, right? Yeah. I have friends that want to be TikTok famous. So it's not like it's just for the young people, right? So why do you think people want to be TikTok famous?
I don't know. I guess so you
Probably
can like
for the
be
money.
noticed.
Yeah,
My guess is for the money and for like the attention.
right. Now, do you said you have Snapchat. Do you have Snapchat or have you before?
No.
You've never had it?
I had it at one point just to use the filters, but then I deleted it because we found out that was before it was like social media. It was just the filters. But then when it became like a thing, we deleted
Right. Now, what about your friends? What do your friends have?
Basically all social media. I don't have Instagram or Twitter or like anything.
Then do your friends?
Yeah.
Now, do you guys, how about Roblox? Does anyone have Roblox?
My sister
I
plays
don't.
it all the time.
I played it a lot over quarantine, but I don't really use it anymore.
So what did you like about Roblox?
Just like there's like a variety of games. It's not just one game.
Right. Yeah.
I would just play with my friends and we play this game called Bloxburg and we like build houses. That was like a long time ago, so I don't really use it now.
Yeah, yeah. You think you might use it again? Now, what about your friends? What are some apps your friends have?
Basically all of it. Like they're just on it all the time, kind of.
Instagram and Snapchat.
What about gaming apps?
Like Among Us? Like that's
Yeah, Among Us is
public
really
game.
popular.
Do y'all like to play that?
Sometimes, not really, but a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. And Fortnite?
Yeah, my brother does a lot of video games. I
Yeah,
don't really
yeah.
play video games.
Right. Well, your phone is awesome, but it can also be it can be big time dangerous, right? So as much as it's good, it could really, really be bad, right? So when you had social media or you have social media, how many requests of friends did you get that you did not know?
Wait, which apps?
Just pick an app. Pick an app. How about Snapchat?
I downloaded it like a week ago. So.
Oh, you did? So have you gotten many people that you're not friends with that want to be your friend?
One of my friends,
Right.
She just adds everybody. She doesn't even know half the people.
Right. A friend of a friend or whatever.
No, some people she doesn't even know.
Right. And what do you think about that?
That is dangerous.
Why is it dangerous?
Because you don't know them and you don't know anything about them.
Right. Right. What about your location? Like when you go places, do you use the SnapMat and to tell people where you
I
are.
don't have any friends on that, so.
Well, you will, I'm sure. I'm sure. Because there is the snap map that like shows you like where you are, and if you check in, then you can see all the people that are in the same place as you. Like you have all that, right?
I mean, I don't really know how to use it yet, but
Okay. I'm teaching you how to use it. But there are things. So it's really cool to do that. But you know what? It's also really dangerous too, right? So why do you think it would be dangerous?
Because people know where you are.
Right, right. So how old do you have to be to have a Snapchat?
I don't think anybody should really have it because of the dangers,
But see, we don't want to be afraid.
yeah, I'm not
See?
afraid of it, but like, I feel like it's just a lot of social media is just a waste of time in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my opinion. But if you were to have an age, I would think like 18, because then you know a lot of things about the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what to do, mostly
Right.
what to do and what not to do.
Right, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at kids that have it at 13 or younger, and they lie about their age to have certain things, right? So, do you think there's people on, let's take Snapchat. Do you think there's people on Snapchat that lie about their age?
yes, 100%.
Yes, yes.
Even my neighbor, she's 11, and
She's lied about her age. Right. So think about this. So think about if your friends lie about their age, what would stop someone that you don't know could lie about their age and actually be 30 years old, like really old?
I mean, you don't know they're that age because they don't really say it. They try to act like they're normal aged, like young,
Right. And why do you think they do that?
so they can lure kids in
Right.
and try to get friends and
Right.
friends.
Right. It's dangerous, right? So I've had people, so it's really important not to be friends with anyone you don't know. And I don't even care if it's a friend of a friend, because as you guys start getting older, there'll be like one of your friends who you'll be looking at theirs, and there'll be a really cute boy or a really pretty girl that you don't know, but y'all, like, they go to the same school as you're going to want to be friends with them. It's just going to happen. You can't, because you don't know if they're lying about their age. You don't know if they're lying about who they are. So let's take you. You see this really cute guy on there. You end up friending him or whatever. And he wants to meet you for coffee at Starbucks, or wants to go to Waverly, or wants to go somewhere. And you meet him up with your girlfriends, and he's 30 years old, and he takes you. What would you do?
call the police. Or
But you wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't?
Well, if he takes you, how would you call the police?
What if like you secretly like texted the police or something?
Well, that you could do that. But what if? But yes, I understand. But what if you can't?
I don't know.
What would happen?
You couldn't really do anything.
Like, you're in trouble, right? And the missing and exploited children say that if you're taken, you have 48 hours. And if you're not, there's a good chance that you will never come home to your family. You have 48 hours. That's why it's so important to not be friends with anyone you don't know. And the other thing that's really important is to make sure you give all your passwords to your parents, because they need to know. So let's say you're on Instagram and you meet someone on Instagram and you're taken. Your parents have no clue. But if they had your social media passwords, they could go on those and try to and see if there's someone that looks suspicious that they could give to the authorities. So you can get in with that 48-hour window and try to find where you are. So important. So important. And even though you guys, some of you may not be there yet, you need to remember that. And it's not that your parents are trying to micromanage you and trying to control your life and make your life miserable and all of that. They're trying to protect you. And you need to be proactive in the way that you carry yourself as kids, because it could save your life. And I think if you went home and said, okay, Mom, Dad, here are my passwords to my social media accounts, they'll be like, who are you? What did you do with my child? You know? But it's important to do that. And if you change your passwords or whatever, just make sure you keep your parents up to date on it. And if you have any weird creeper people that are trying to, you know, get in your business or whatever, that you tell your parents, you block them. You block them, of course. But if you have all, you need to have all of your social media platforms private. And then you also need to make sure you have your location turned off. Because those are very important. And I'm going to tell you, when you start hanging out with your friends, you're going to want to, we're here, blah, blah, blah. You're going to take a picture of it or whatever. You're just going to, but don't. Just don't. It's not safe. Because if you end up putting that location on there, if there's someone on your social media account that's not honest and not really for you, they could go there and take you.
Could you do it after you've left that place if it's not your house, do you think?
Well, I think that's a discussion you need to have with your parents. And you need to ask them if that's okay. Yes.
Wait, what happens if, like, say, like, for, like, instance, if I'm talking to someone, like, on the mic in, like, an Xbox party or something, and they're, like, say we obviously live in North Carolina, and say they live in, like, Florida or something, and they're being honest. Is that okay, or?
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
Do you have a problem with, do you feel, are you giving them any information that they could find you?
No. Well,
Yeah, you could. If you were, like, really dedicated to try to find this one person, you could probably find them.
And how would you do that?
Social media.
I don't know.
But if all their stuff's private, how could you?
You couldn't. Wait.
Follow them and then see if they accept their request.
But if you don't know them, you wouldn't follow. See, if you follow the rules and you're not friends with anyone that you don't know, then they wouldn't be able to. And if you're talking to someone on Xbox, you're not giving them any private information. You're not telling them your address, where you live, your phone number. You don't give them anything like that. You just play a game. That's it.
Wait. So then if, like, wait. So if we're not telling them, like, information about, like, ourselves, it's okay to have them, like, on your list?
That's a conversation you need to have with your parents. And I think that's where you can have a conversation with your parents and talk about why you want to have that and why you don't want to have it. And that you guys figure it out. Because there's some people, you know, that are mature enough to be able to handle that. And there's certain kids that aren't. There's certain parents that have certain guidelines of what they feel safety is for their family, and certain ones that aren't. And I think that would be a great conversation that you could have with your parents and talk to them. Okay, here's why I want to do this. This is what I will, this is how I am going to protect myself, you know, or this is why, you know, I shouldn't have it. Like, you just have to have a conversation about that. But under no circumstances do you give any personal information at all. At all. Because for me as a mom, if that happened, that would be it. It'd be one time you're out. Like, I'm cutting you off. That's it. When you're 18, you can have it. Or when you prove that you can be responsible in that. Because you can't mess around. Because you don't need someone knocking on your door, you know, that's, you know, 30 years old, or watching you and waiting for you to leave so they can take you. It's just not worth it. Your life means more. You're too valuable to let a situation like that take you out.
I personally, I've like said what I think about social media, but everybody makes it seem like it's such a good thing. One, if you get so distracted with it, you can miss what's going on in life. Like, if you're like, just don't live on a screen. Just live in the moment. That's what I think.
Right? right?
If you're just paying attention to your phone and like trying to share with everybody else, and you're just missing what's going on.
Right. There is definitely a measure of that for sure. And there are people who do get addicted to their phones, and there are people that do have issues with that. And I think that's also too a conversation that you can have with your parents of how long you should be on your phone. Like what is the standard? And also too, at night before you go to bed, you should bring all your phones downstairs and you never take your phone to sleep with you. I don't know if your parents allow that, but that is definitely something, especially being younger, that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't have your phone with you. It's too tempting.
There's something about that with like, if it's too close to your head at night and it's like charging or something, it's bad for you.
Well, yeah, there are studies there are studies. Unless you have like a certain kind of case that takes all that away. Like I have one of those. I do. I have one of those because I don't need anything to kill my brain cells. So,
I have an iPad and it's for school and like personal stuff. But the annoying thing is at school, like my average screen time is like 3 hours because with COVID and everything, we can't take paper notes. They have to be electronic. And that just makes me uncomfortable. Like you go to school to learn, not like to learn about stuff and do hands-on, not just look at a screen the whole day.
I know.
And I bet that's hard. I go to school 5 days a week, but I bet that's hard for people with distance who
it's very
are
hard.
on the
It's
screen
very hard.
7 hours.
Yeah, it's hard for my daughter. But okay, so let me ask you this. So let's say you're out somewhere and you see something that looks not right. What do you do? Who do you call? What do you do?
I would call my parents.
Okay, but let's say it's like immediate danger. Who would you call?
The police.
911. And you give them all the information you can. This is what I'm seeing. This is the license plate. This is the person. This is the situation. Whatever it is. It's anonymous, so they're not going to track you down.
What happens if like you're in the car with the person and then you're panicking and then you don't like have time and like would you like be quiet about it or like how would you do that?
I don't even know.
What would you do?
I'd be praying a whole lot and asking God to give you wisdom in that situation, if you got into that situation. But not only that, I'm talking about if you were just out somewhere and you saw like someone who definitely looked, that was evil, that was trying to harm someone, and you saw it, that's what I'm talking about. That's when you want to call.
Like at the movies or something.
Yeah, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Wherever you are. So, well, I am so thankful that you guys agreed to sit down with me today. And I hope that I've empowered you. I hope that you've learned a lot. I hope that you'll remember these conversations that we've had and you'll be able to take them to your friends and have a conversation with your parents. And if I want to say too, if you don't have a close relationship to your parents and you don't have a way of someone to talk to someone at your school, talk to someone at your church, talk to your youth leader, find someone that you can talk about these things with, because it's really important. And like I said, your lives are too valuable. Like you mean so much to God, and He has such a big plan for your life.
You wouldn't want to just throw it away
You wouldn't want to throw it away.
Responsible.
No, but sometimes, you get in situations, so you just want to make sure that you do what you can to protect yourself. And not be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of it. Just be aware.
Our youth pastor, he said, if the subject has power over you, you should address it. Like before this conversation, I used to always be afraid of like human trafficking, but now that I know stuff, it's easier to talk about them.
Yes, that is the point.
Yes.
That's the point. So I'm really glad. And you guys, feel free. You can reach out to me through my website, compassiontag.org. If you want to talk more about this, or you have questions, you want to go deeper, because we could talk all day long. We could talk about scenarios and we could go really deep, but this is great for a first time to talk to you. So thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast today. And if you want to dive deeper with us, you can go to our website, compassiontoact.org. That's compassion, TOACT.org. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook to get updates. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can give financially. We are so grateful that you have taken the time today. And remember, knowledge is power. And put your compassion into action. Thank you.